Alright guys, well 3 episodes of Boros tokens was enough, so now we're going to take out the Selesnya, so we're going to keep the white obviously because it has the Raise the Alarm and Triplicate Spirits, which are the 2 best token producers in the game. And we're going to swap out the red for green. This deck is less of a token deck than the Boros one is. It's more of a white weenie deck than a true token deck. But anyways, let's look at my version of the deck. Playing 4 copies of Loyal Pegasus, 1 drop, 2 power flyer. The can't attack or block alone clause can sometimes be a little bit of a drawback. I mean, we're probably, if we're blocking with this deck, then we're in bad shape already. So I'm not really worried about the ability not to block alone, but when this thing can't attack, then it's pretty annoying. But I mean, the other option is to play Elite Vanguard. You know, it's the same stats, it doesn't have flying. A lot of times Elite Vanguard is just sitting there, not able to attack anyway. So at least if you've got a Squadron Hawk on the field, all of a sudden you've got 2 evasive creatures that can swing together. So I think I like the Loyal Pegasus in this deck better than the Elite Vanguard. But that is sometimes a drawback. So also one thing that Elite Vanguard has going for it is a soldier, and we're playing Captain of the Watch. So I mean, if it comes to be that we've got a Captain of the Watch on the field, the Pegasus won't get the buff. But if we've got a Captain of the Watch on the field, we're probably doing okay. So I don't think that having the difference between a 3-2 on the ground or a 2-1 in the air is going to be that big of a deal. So that's all the 1 drops in the deck. And as far as the 2 drops go, we're playing all 4 copies of Squadron Hawk. They go nicely with the Pegasus, gives you a little bit of evasion to swing with every single turn. And it's card advantage. I mean, it draws you 3 cards over the course of however many turns. You know, obviously you don't want to overdraw your hand, but it will eventually draw you 3 cards. The worst thing you can ever top deck, though, when you have one of these in your hand is another one, because that's 1 less card you'll get to draw. We got Raise the Alarm, 2 mana, instant speed, create a pair of soldier tokens. They go with Captain of the Watch very nicely. And our other 2 drop, like I said, this is mostly a white weenie deck. Even we only got 7 green cards in the whole deck, and you know, in my version of it, which is not too far off Mobius's or anyone that you'll see in the lobbies really. I mean, it's pretty. It's not a whole lot of room, a whole lot of wiggle room in this deck. Basically, you want to get 7 bodies on the field, slam down a Beastmaster, and win the game on spot. That's the plan of this deck, and just be aggro. So the reason to play green over straight white weenie is Selesnya Evangel. So she's a nice little mana sink there. You pay 1, tap her, and tap an untapped creature you control, and you get a Sapperling creature. So the Sapperlings that she creates are the only non-white creatures in the deck. So everything else is a white creature, and that'll be important when I show you one of the other cards. I'm also playing 1 copy of Sigil Blessing. You know, this card is really good. A lot of potential damage on this card if your board is big. But it's also easy to disrupt because it has the target creature clause. So if you point it at a creature and your opponent removes that creature in response, the whole spell gets countered. So you won't get any benefit whatsoever. So it is a little bit dangerous to use. Basically, it's Beastmaster Ascension number 3. I don't want multiples of this effect. I don't think. If I did, I wouldn't play this card. I would play Inspired Charge, but that's 4 mana. So, but I mean, if you want more of this type of effect, I think Inspired Charge is where you should be looking, because it doesn't target a creature, so your opponent can remove one of them, and it's fine. But this is just too good, because +3/+3 can save one of your creatures from Anger of the Gods. You know, as a defensive maneuver. You know, if you've got a Captain of the Watch on board and they try to anger it away, you know, you will lose your tokens, but you get to keep your Captain. Things like that, you know. But it's mostly an offensive weapon, like I said, Beastmaster number 3. But it's easy to disrupt, so I don't want to play too many of them. Alright, moving on up to 3 mana. We've got Brimaz, the King of Arrest Ghost himself. Obviously, we're going to play this guy in an aggressive white deck. I mean, that's a pretty easy decision to be made right there. We're going to play Mentor of the Meek. We got a whole lot of little small dudes. That you know, this is our real card advantage engine if we get this thing to stick. Obviously, Squadron Hawk is our other way to draw some cards. Captain of the Watch is card advantage because it's 4 bodies on 1 card. But I mean, Squadron Hawk and Mentor are your 2 main engines to gas up if you get, you know, keep your hand full. We've also got all 4 copies of Attended Knight. So 2/2 first strike. You know, there's a lot of boards where this thing can swing in unabated because this deck wants to be attacking. But also, I mean, if you're swinging with your flyers, having a 2/2 first strike on the ground is also good to keep opposing X2s away, because you can just first strike them and keep your dude. So, you know, it makes a little soldier token. So, I mean, it's 2 bodies on 1 card. Potentially multiple Mentor triggers. So, 3 mana. Playing 2 copies of Beastmaster Ascension. This thing, you pretty much don't play it until you've already got 7 creatures on the board. I mean, that's not a hard and fast rule, but that's the general rule. You know, you get 7 counters on this thing, your creatures get +5/+5. But, you know, if you have 7 creatures on the field, you play this, you win the game. That's, you know, if it doesn't get countered. If it hits the field and you have 7 bodies, it's pretty tough to lose. So those are the 3 drops. Up in the 4 mana spot, we have Paragon of New Dawn. So this is why it's important that every every creature in the deck is a white creature, so we get to play this this Anthem effect. She's a little bit frail, you know, she's a 4-mana 2/2, dies to shock. But, you know, if your opponent is tapped out or something, you're going to get one turn with the Anthem before, you know, and if they can't remove it, then it's just ridiculous, because, I mean, you know, an Anthem for your whole team is pretty awesome. It has a, you know, it's a bit of a slight nombo with Mentor of the Meek, because it will turn some of your cards, like Loyal Pegasus will be a 3-power dude when he enters the battlefield. You know, other Paragons will be 3-power dudes. You know, your Captain of the Watch will be a 4-power guy. You know, there is a slight dyssynergy, but if you've got a Paragon on the field and it sticks, you can handle the slight dyssynergy because you're winning the game generally. So that's the 4 mana. I think I've only got 3 out. That's my only 4 drops. I'm playing Baneslayer, same thing as Brimaz. It's very uninspired, but we're playing 24 land in this deck. The reason I'm playing 24 land is because I want to play both copies of Captain of the Watch. This deck is weak to Anger of the Gods, obviously. So Captain of the Watch is a great way to, you know, your opponent plays Anger, and then you follow up with this and just, you know, gas up your board again. Really strong. She's a 3-power, 3/3 Vigilant. She puts down 2 2/2 Vigilant guys, and even if they remove her, you still have 3 1/1 tokens. So she's a really, really strong card. And like I said, I'm playing 24 land because I want to play her. You know, the deck also has mana sinks, though, in Selesnya, Evangel, and Mentor of the Meek. So 24 land is not a huge drawback, you know, because you can spend your mana on other things. And, you know, since we're playing 24 land, might as well pop a Baneslayer in here. Like I said, very uninspired, but it's just such a powerful card that, again, you know, your opponent angers away your board or whatever, and you just drop the Baneslayer, and a lot of times you'll just win the game on the back of her alone, because your opponent will exhaust, you know, all his resources dealing with your early rush, and probably won't have anything left to deal with her. So she's a really strong card. And again, Captain of the Watch, just talked about it, and that's why I'm playing 24 lands, because you know, it's a lot of bodies. There are a lot of soldiers in the deck. Spirits, they're just spirit tokens. Obviously, Paragon is a soldier. Tended Knight is a knight, obviously not a soldier. Mentor of the Meek is a soldier. Brimaz is a soldier. This creates soldier tokens. And like I said, Elite Vanguard is a soldier if you were going to go down that road, which I certainly wouldn't blame anyone for, but I like the Pegasus alongside Squadron Hawk, so that's the way I'm going to take that. And the last card is obviously Triplicate Spirits. You know, I mean, the price tag says 6 mana, but you're often not going to spend 6 mana on this. You may spend 2 on it, maybe 3. You know, tap 2 lands. I mean, you know, you can just tap your board, and this is one of the main enablers for Beastmaster Ascension. Also, unlike the Boros deck, this one can actually get Triplicate Spirits out on the 3rd turn of the game. So it's a very specific line. You have to have a 1-drop. On turn 2, you have to have Raise the Alarm, and you have to hit your 3rd drop, and it has to be untapped. So you have to go Land Pegasus, Land Alarm, Land Triplicate Spirits, because you'll have 3 bodies on the field that you can tap to pay the other 3 mana. So having 6 bodies on the board at the end of turn 3 is pretty strong. It doesn't come up all that often, but when you get to do it, it's pretty sick. So as far as the lands go, just going to play the 4 gates. I'm playing 8 forests, even though I've only got 7 cards that have green on them. But this Evangel is a turn 2 play, and pretty much you want to play her on the 2nd turn if you draw her. So, I mean, that's why I'm playing 12 green sources, just so that I can usually have a green source by the 2nd turn. And, you know, 16 white sources is plenty. I've only got, there's nothing more than a double white. You know, Brimaz is double white, Baneslayer, and Captain of the Watch. But Triplicate Spirits, you can tap a white creature if you've only got 1 white land. So I think 16 sources of white, 12 sources of green is pretty good. You know, that's, anyway, that's my take on Selesnya tokens. Let's get out in the lobbies and see how it does compared to Boros.